I never meant for this diary to be read by anyone. It started as a way to speak to myself, a place I could hide my words. But tonight, on the floor, arms trembling, I can't rise. My breath is caught in my throat, each gulp of air like shards of glass. If I close my eyes, the swirling stops for a second. If I keep them shut, the dizziness returns tenfold. Doesn't matter. I'm stuck to these cold tiles, something under my hand. A children's toy. Ivan's little plastic car. Feels like the ultimate weight pinning me down. I can't do this. Not yet. Blue. The floor has a faint blue tinge from the nightlight in the hall. My face is against the ceramic, and it's unforgiving. Somehow my phone ended up across the room. I just see its black screen, reflection of that same blue glow. Another wave hits me. Memories, images, something twisted between pain and fury. I try to swallow, but there's nothing left in my mouth. My nails scrape the tile, searching for a grip. I know logically that I can just push my palms against the ground and stand. But my spirit is heavier than my body right now. I'm so drained. I wasn't always like this. Over the last week, it has felt like a slow-motion collision. Tonight was the final hit. Breathe. Just breathe. At least that's what they say. Sometimes I write these entries as if I'm dictating them to a future version of me. Sometimes I scribble them in bullet points. Right now, I only have these trembling thoughts in my head. And they won't stop replaying what I saw on that phone screen 2 days ago. No, that's a lie. It's been 4 days. My sense of time is unraveling. 4 days ago, I was walking through the house, heading to the living room. Dull overhead lights spilled across the floor, yellowish, sickly. I remember the color because it reminded me of a hospital corridor. That day, Rachel was there on the couch, with an expression I couldn't read. The kids were in the kitchen with her brother, Peter, rummaging for snacks. I had come home early from the office after discovering those insurance papers. Her name. The mention of Ivan and Anastasia, in a context I didn't understand. Something about beneficiaries. And something else. I was too unsettled to pretend everything was okay. In that moment, she looked up at me with an odd mix of relief and fear. I still can't describe it. She said, "Mark, I need your help." No explanation. No apology. Just a direct request. It wasn't a normal favor. Her tone was tight, like she was cornered and had only one possible path out. But I turned on my heel, walked away. Her voice followed me, rising. Threatening, almost. "I'll explain later," she said. A promise. A threat? I just kept walking. Went to the other side of the house to find some space. At that time, I was still in that state of numb confusion. I heard her sobbing eventually, but it felt forced. Or maybe I'm rewriting that in my head to justify my anger. I don't know. Later that evening, I returned to the living room. The lights were dimmed, except for that dull overhead glow, tinted by the old lampshade that casts everything in a heavy yellow gloom. Rachel was down on the floor, playing a silly game with the kids, while her brother hovered over them. She had this childlike grin. If someone had walked in right then, they'd see a perfect family snapshot. Mother, father in the background, kids laughing, uncle visiting. Except out of the corner of my eye, I caught her phone screen lighting up next to the couch. I guess she got a message. I saw a name. Rick. And then a video preview. I probably shouldn't have opened it, but suspicion had been coiling in my gut for days. I picked up the phone, tapped the screen, and my entire body froze. It was them. Rachel and some man. I recognized the gym in the background, those large mirrored walls, the faint hum of treadmills. He was behind her, leaning in, pressing close. The angle wasn't perfect, but I saw his hand traveling over her waist, creeping beneath her workout top. Her lips parted, her head tilting back in a silent moan. I can't forget the shape of that moment, the way the overhead neon lights in the gym gave them this strange, almost surreal glow. The color might have been bluish from the reflection of the exercise machines, or the sweaty floors. She was wearing the leggings she always said were just for yoga. The ones she once teased me with. But it wasn't me in that video. Wasn't me at all. For a second, I didn't understand. My mind refused to connect the images to reality. Then it was as if all oxygen vanished from the room, replaced by a scorching dryness. I felt my jaw clench so hard I worried my teeth would break. My lips parted but no sound came out. I dropped the phone onto the couch, hoping the video would vanish along with it. It didn't. The images were burned into my head. I turned. She must have heard the faint beep or the rustle. She glanced over and saw me. Her smile turned brittle. She knew. I saw it in her eyes. She straightened, the kids still laughing at some cartoonish gesture she'd just made, completely unaware of the tension surging between us. Peter looked up, confused by the sudden shift. He asked if everything was all right. I lied and said I needed air. I think I said, "Going for a walk. I'll be back." My voice sounded hollow. She started to say, "Mark, wait." But I was already out the door, stepping into the cool evening, where the blue glow of the streetlights clashed with the leftover hints of the dying sunset. That's when the images first looped through my brain. Over and over. I guess that was the moment I truly broke. A man knows in his gut when his life as he knows it is over. That was my moment. I walked for hours, ignoring calls, ignoring texts. I ended up at some 24-hour diner on the outskirts of the neighborhood, the place with fluorescent lights so bright they practically scald the corneas. Probably the same cheap fluorescent that lit the damn gym. I drank black coffee until my stomach rebelled, then just stared at the tabletop, counting the specks in the formica pattern. When I finally returned home, well past midnight, Rachel was in the kitchen. She rushed over, red-eyed, trembling. The kids were asleep, which was a relief. She tried to speak, but I raised a hand. I remember the gesture, so abrupt, like a cop telling someone to stop. She shut her mouth, tears glistening on her cheeks. She reached out, maybe to hug me, but I sidestepped her gently. She began sobbing, words tumbling out. I'm sorry, Mark, it's not what it looks like. Please just." She seemed frantic, face streaked with a mix of guilt and fear. Meanwhile, I was floating above my own life. I stared at her, the overhead light coloring her hair a dull, lifeless brown. My voice came out steady, too calm. "Rachel, not here." She tried to persist, but I repeated, "Not here," with an edge I've never used before. She sobbed for a while. I just leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, jaw set. Eventually, she whispered, "Please don't leave me. We have a chance, right? We can fix this." I heard the desperation, the rawness, and a small part of me, some leftover piece of the man who used to love her, ached. But I was still numb, and in my numbness, I found resolve. "We'll talk tomorrow," I said, each word measured. I left her alone in that sickly glow of the kitchen lights. I went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, and tried to sleep. Sleep never came. Back here, on this tile floor, I'm caught between then and now. It's been 4 days since that moment. 4 days of half-conversations, apologies she tries to mumble through closed doors, pleas that float past me unacknowledged. I told her I'd moved to the couch, that I needed some space. The kids have been confused, but I've put on a brave face for them. I dropped them at school. I picked them up. I've become a ghost in my own house. Quiet, methodical, present, but not truly there. She sobs behind closed doors. I hardly speak to her at all. She tries to get close. I push her away with a look or a monotone, "Leave me alone." I stare at these final lines in my mental diary. The words still swirl. My arms gather enough strength to push me off the floor, just an inch. I sense the sweat on my forehead, a bead trickling down the side of my temple. I manage to brace myself, forcing my knees under me, pressing up. I stand. Eventually, although my vision threatens to black out, just keep breathing. The house is dark and silent now. The kids asleep, her brother's gone. The world at peace except for the storm inside me. Morning, 6:00 a.m., the alarm on my phone rings with that insistent beep. I ignore it, letting it drone on until it shuts itself off. The moment it stops, an even heavier silence descends, like the hush before a funeral. My reflection stares back from the bedroom mirror. Bloodshot eyes, face unshaven, hair disheveled. I look older. My father's face is in mine, lines around the eyes that I never noticed before. Another beep from my phone, a text message, probably from her. Another apology, another vow. Another explanation about how it was just a moment of weakness, or it never should have happened. I can't deal with the phone right now. I shuffle to the bathroom. Splash water on my face. The overhead light here is harsh white, revealing every detail. The rawness of my eyes, the tension in my jaw. The memory of that video flickers behind my eyelids. I watch a single drop of water roll down the sink, swirl around the drain, vanish. I hear Rachel in the hallway, softly calling the kids to wake up. She tries to sound normal, but there's a quiver in her voice. She's trying to put on the caring mother mask for them. I watch her reflection behind me when she peeks into the bathroom. Her eyes meet mine in the mirror, tentative, pleading. I turn away, pretending I didn't see. The reflection is enough to make me grit my teeth, so hard I feel the tension up to my temples. She tries again. "Mark, can we?" I interrupt in a low voice. "Not now, Rachel." It's calm, measured, but that calmness is a shield. She bows her head and retreats to the hallway. On some level, I hate hurting her. But the anger is stronger. Breakfast is a tense charade. Ivan and Anastasia are too young to understand the undercurrent. They sense the coldness, though. Ivan asks, "Daddy, did you sleep in the living room again?" I nod and manage to smile. Rachel lowers her gaze to her plate, pushes scrambled eggs around without eating. My voice is tight as I try to be fatherly and ask about their day at school, about upcoming projects, about soccer practice. They chatter, unaffected for the moment. The only person at the table who sees the real fracture is Rachel. She tries to join in, but she falters. Her attempt at a laugh sounds more like a sob. She pushes her chair back abruptly. "I'll be right back," she says, heading upstairs. The kids look at me, confused. I shrug, sipping my coffee. Inside, my anger simmers. I have to stand up soon, gather my bag, drive them to school, put on a normal face in front of teachers and other parents. Pretend I'm just another dad with a stable life. If they only knew. If they could only see the black hole in my chest. I drop the kids off. On the way back, I find myself punching the steering wheel at every red light. My knuckles are turning white. The memory of Rachel and that man, Rick, the personal trainer, the easy smile at the gym, makes my stomach churn. I imagine his hands on her again, that damned phone video. The swirl of color, the overhead lights, her parted lips. My eyes flick to the passenger seat. I see the remnants of the children's snacks, a couple of juice boxes, and I feel this surge of protective rage. She disrespected me, but more than that, she risked the stability of our entire family. For what? A thrill. I pull into the driveway. The morning sun is out, glaring. The door is unlocked. She's probably home. Indeed, I find her in the living room, perched on the couch, staring at a photograph of our wedding day that hangs on the wall. A bright, once happy image. Now it feels mocking. She hears me come in, stands. "Mark, please." I set my jaw and say nothing. She steps closer, tears already forming. I know I did something awful, but we have children, we have a life, and I can't lose you. I tilt my head, studying her. Right. We had a life. Now there's a new name in the mix. Rick. She flushes, tears welling. It was a mistake. I felt lonely. A wave of bitterness slices through me. Lonely. I echo, voice still measured. So you go to a gym and let some guy crawl all over you. That's how you handle loneliness. She gasps, tears sliding down her cheeks. I didn't mean. It started with casual talk, then he. It just happened. Her voice cracks. I let out a harsh exhale. My fists curl, nails biting into my palms. You humiliated me. You think I can just undo that image in my head? Wipe it away with an apology. Her sobbing intensifies, shoulders shaking. She tries to approach, but I step back. Don't, I say. Don't touch me. That night, I can't sleep again. So I open my laptop, open a blank document, try to let the words spill out. It's like an extended diary entry, except more raw. Fragmented lines. She betrayed me. She betrayed the kids. The intimacy we had gone. I picture the color-coded sections of our shared life. Blue for the happy illusions, yellow for the sour tension, dull gray for the emptiness that replaced everything. My mind wanders to the details of the affair. Was it just once, or more times? Did she laugh with him the way she used to laugh with me? That notion punches me in the gut. My breathing grows ragged, but I bury the emotions. I type until my eyes blur. 2 days pass like this. I function. I bathe, dress, go to work, come home, nod at her if we meet in the hallway, say minimal words in front of the children. She tries to corner me for a real conversation, but I slip away. There's a furious tension building in me. I'm not sure if I'm more angry with her or with the fact that I let my guard down so thoroughly that I believed we were solid. My father always told me, never trust that life is set in stone. One quake and it all tumbles. I used to laugh at his cynicism. Now it's playing out in real time. Friday night. The kids are at a friend's sleepover, so I'm alone in the house with her. She said she wants to talk, so we end up in the living room. The overhead lamp is off, leaving only a small table lamp that casts a soft, yellowish circle around us. She stands near the fireplace, arms crossed tightly. I'm by the window, looking out at the neighbor's porch lights, blinking like beacons in the darkness. We both know we can't keep walking on eggshells forever. She starts, voice trembling. Rick and I. It started a month ago. I was feeling undesired, I suppose. I know that doesn't justify anything. I don't expect forgiveness, but I do want you to know I regret it. My eyes remain on the window. Regret. I repeat. Funny how you regret it only after getting caught. She doesn't deny it. You pulled away from me months ago, Mark. We barely talked. Our bedroom felt like a tomb. I don't know what I thought. Maybe I was searching for some spark. She rubbed her arms, as though a chill runs through her. I turned slowly. You should have come to me. Told me you felt neglected. Talked it out. Not that. The image of that video resurfaces. My voice is still calm, but spiked with bitterness. So what do you want now? She tilts her head, tears forming again. I want to fix our marriage. I want to be the family we used to be. I love you. Her tears spill, voice cracking. I cross the room, standing a few feet from her. You love me. Then why do I only see him when I close my eyes? She shuts her eyes, sobbing quietly. Silence follows. I breathe through clenched teeth, grappling with the urge to hurl accusations. That won't help. Anger is swirling in me, but I keep it contained, like a caged beast. I step away, exhaling. I need time. I say. A lot of it. She sniffs, tries to speak, but words fail. I walk out, leaving her in that dim lamp's glow, sobs echoing off the walls. Sometime past midnight, after pacing around the living room, I decide I can't be in this house. I grab my keys and head out. I aimlessly drive through the neighborhood, then out onto the main roads, until I spot the flickering sign of a small bar. The neon is half broken, the open sign sputtering. Perfect. I park, go in, order whiskey. The place is nearly empty. The bartender is an older guy with a bored expression. He slides my drink over wordlessly. I sip, feeling the burn. My mind drifts to the concept of revenge. People say revenge is sweet, or that it's a dish best served cold. But in my gut, I know it's not about retribution. It's about trying to reclaim the part of me that was stolen. Revenge is not a reckoning. I think to myself, it's a liberation. A quiet voice in the back of my head. Maybe I do need to do something that frees me from this suffocating sense of humiliation and betrayal. I can't let it go. I can't just forgive and move on. Not yet. She gave herself to another man. She made me a fool. Even if she begs, even if she pleads until her throat is raw, the memory is there, lodged in my chest. I down the last of the whiskey, order another. The bartender glances my way, possibly noting the storm behind my eyes. I grunt a thanks when he refills my glass. The bitterness on my tongue is more from betrayal than from the liquor. Saturday morning. I have a pounding headache from the whiskey. I remember stumbling in around 3:00 a.m., collapsing on the couch, drifting into a restless doze. The sun is up, flooding the living room with a bright, almost mocking glare. I groan, press a hand to my forehead. Then I notice Rachel standing near the wall, holding a glass of water. Her face is puffy from crying. She extends the water to me silently. I take it, gulp it down, and manage a curt nod. For a moment, we say nothing. She sets her jaw, as though steeling herself. "You're not the only one who's hurting," she whispers. My lips twist into a humorless smile. "Enlighten me." She tightens her arms around herself. "I know I caused this, but I'm losing everything too. I'm terrified." She looks so small, so fragile. Once upon a time, I might have felt an overwhelming desire to protect her. Now, resentment gnaws at me. Still, a part of me can't help but feel a flicker of pity. I stand, ignoring the protest of my aching head, and walk to the kitchen. She follows, but I keep my back to her. "You'll never understand what you took from me," I say, voice gravelly. "My trust, my pride. You gave that to someone else." Tears roll down her cheeks. She opens her mouth to speak, but no words come out. I sense her despair, and it makes me want to scream. Instead, I exit through the back door and stand on the porch. The morning sky is a stark blue, the color too cheerful for my current mood. I stare at the fence, the lawn, anything but the reflection of my own pain. A plan starts to form in my mind, fueled by anger and the memory of that humiliating video. She's been meeting him at the gym. Possibly they still talk. Maybe they have another place. The thought of them texting or calling behind my back sets me on edge. I recall he's a personal trainer named Rick Baker. I vaguely remember him approaching me at some neighborhood gathering months ago, introducing himself with a handshake that lingered too long. The memory stings now, as if he was silently mocking me even then. I don't know what my plan is exactly, but the word revenge circles my mind. Liberate myself from this powerless place. But how? That evening, Rachel says she needs to pick up groceries, asks if I'll watch the kids. She tries to meet my eyes, but I'm unmoved. "Yes," I say, "I'll watch them." She hesitates, maybe wanting to hug me, but I keep my distance. She leaves with a troubled frown. I do normal dad stuff, play with them, watch an animated movie, help them color pictures. Yet the normalcy feels forced, like I'm performing. The entire time, my mind buzzes. She's going out, is she meeting him? My heart throbs with jealousy and betrayal. An hour later, she returns with actual groceries. So maybe this time it wasn't him. Still, the distrust is a constant undercurrent. The following week is a blur. Rachel tries to salvage something with me, but I remain aloof. She sobs. I speak calmly. She begs. I quietly walk away. At work, I can't focus. My boss eventually corners me, asking if there's a problem. I stammer some excuse about stress at home. In the evenings, the tension in the house is nearly unbearable. The kids sense it, but they also see me trying to shield them from the worst of it. I avoid any open confrontation with Rachel in front of them. My rage is too raw, and I'm afraid I might lash out verbally. So I keep it contained. Aggressive control, a simmering fury behind a locked door. Finally, late one night, I decide to call Rick. I found his number in her phone records. She gave it up easily when I demanded an explanation for how often she texted him. "I'm telling you, it's over," she had pleaded. I deleted his contact. I blocked him. I swear, but the phone records remain. I punch in the digits, hand trembling, adrenaline surging. It rings. Once, twice, thrice, then his voice. "Hello." Silence from me. My heart hammers. Just hearing him speak sets my teeth on edge. He says hello. Again. I can picture that grin, the shape of his shoulders, his hand on my wife's waist. I exhale sharply and end the call. My hand shakes so hard the phone nearly slips. That rush of confrontation, even though I said nothing, feels like an electric shock. I want to see him, face him, let him know how deeply he's cut me. But part of me is afraid. Afraid of losing my composure. Afraid of the violence I might unleash. Days drag by. One night, I'm rummaging in the closet for a blanket. Rachel's in the bedroom. I'm on the couch. My hand brushes an old photo album we never opened in years. I pull it out, flip through images of our wedding, the honeymoon, even the early birthdays of Ivan and Anastasia. We look so happy, so naive. Tears sting my eyes. I slam the album shut, wanting to hurl it across the room. Instead, I press it against my chest, my heart pounding in my ears. The pain of memories is too much. I hear her approach. She sees me clutching that album and tears up. "Mark, I raise a hand, stopping her. She stands quietly, tears rolling. Eventually, she leaves. I remain there, in the dim hallway, hugging that old album like a life raft. Her attempts to talk become more frequent. One afternoon, she corners me while the kids are at school. "Please," she implores, "talk to me." Her eyes are swollen from crying. I can't keep living like this, tiptoeing around each other. I cross my arms, stare at her. "You want to talk about him? About how you ended up in his arms?" She flinches. "I want to talk about us. How we fix this." My laugh is dry, humorless. "Fix this? You shattered it. We can't glue it back together like a broken vase. Even if we try, the cracks remain." She breathes shakily, tears shining. "I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." I arch an eyebrow. "You think I'm the kind of man who can just forgive?" My voice drops to a near whisper. "You weren't just messing around with some random fling. You destroyed my sense of worth, my trust." She sobs, voice cracking. "What do you want me to do?" I glare at her, stepping closer, controlling my rage with difficulty. "I want you to realize what it feels like to watch your life burn. I want you to suffer like I am." My tone is so cold it surprises even me. She crumples against the wall, face buried in her hands. I watch, arms trembling, then walk away before I do something I regret. In the midst of this tension, I discover something else. A credit card statement that includes a charge for a hotel. She never mentioned a hotel. The date was about 2 weeks before I found that video. My chest tightens. Another piece of evidence that it wasn't some random one-time thing. That day, I storm up to her. She's folding laundry in the bedroom. I thrust the statement in her face. "What is this?" She looks up, eyes wide with guilt. "Mark, I only went once. It was stupid. I felt. It was after we had that big fight about money, remember?" I exhale sharply. "So you went to a hotel with him? Because we argued about money." My voice trembles with controlled anger. She tries to touch my arm. I recoil. "It's not about you. It's about me being weak," she stammers. Her tears are immediate, but I'm past caring. I drop the statement, the pages fluttering to the floor. She collapses onto the bed, sobbing into her hands. I stride out, rage pulsing behind my eyes, something final and irreparable forming. That night, I can't sleep again. My mind is a restless sea of accusations and regrets. I move to the garage, an old refuge, among dusty shelves, boxes of Christmas decorations, and tools I rarely use. I sit on a stool and let the wave of anger, humiliation, and heartbreak wash over me. At some point, I pound my fist on the workbench, a feral growl escaping my throat. I vow not to be the helpless victim. I vow I'll take control of my life again, no matter the cost. A few days later, the opportunity arises. Rachel, presumably wanting to prove her honesty, tells me she's meeting a friend at a local coffee shop to talk through her emotional stress. Normally, I'd roll my eyes, but something in me wonders if she's telling the truth, or if it's him. So I follow her. Yes, I follow my own wife like a detective. I feel a pang of shame, but it's swallowed by the need to know. I watch her car from a distance as she parks outside the cafe. She does go inside with a female friend, someone I vaguely recognize from our children's school. They greet each other, hugging. My chest loosens just a bit. Maybe she is telling the truth this time. Suddenly, a new tension coils in me. Across the street, I spot a tall figure stepping out of an SUV. He's dressed in athletic gear, wearing a branded jacket. Rick. My blood runs cold. Is this coincidence, or is he here to see her? I watch from the seat of my car, hand gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles whiten. He walks toward the gym next door. My heart pounds. She's in the cafe for a friendly chat. He's next door at the gym. Could be an accident, could be a planned rendezvous. I feel the old fury rising. He disappears inside the gym's glass doors. For a moment, I consider confronting him right then, marching in, grabbing him by the collar, demanding satisfaction. But I wait. 10 minutes later, Rachel emerges from the cafe with her friend. They're chatting, sipping coffees. She doesn't go near the gym. They get into separate cars, drive off. Rick remains inside. My pulse roars in my ears. I start the engine, a new plan crystallizing. I'll face him, man to man. I park a block away, walk to the gym's entrance, and step inside. The interior is bright with a piercing white light, a far cry from the dull glow in my living room. The hum of treadmills is near deafening. A bored receptionist glances up, asks for my membership card. I scan the floor. I see Rick at the far end, demonstrating an exercise to a client, a middle-aged woman. My jaw sets. I tell the receptionist I'm here for a free trial. She waves me in, uninterested. I approach him, heart pounding. He has no idea who I am at first. He's mid-sentence with his client, arms folded. The second he recognizes me, something in his eyes flickers. Tension crackles like electricity. He nods to the woman. Can you give me a minute? She shrugs, moves aside. Rick steps closer, dropping his voice. Look, man, I guess you're Mark. I heard about you. I keep my expression neutral, though my insides seethe. Heard about me from who? I ask, already knowing the answer. He exhales. I know you're upset, but... I cut him off, voice tight. Upset? You fool around with my wife and think upset covers it. You humiliated me. He runs a hand over his short hair, eyes flicking around. We didn't mean for it to go that far. It was a mistake, a lapse. She said she was lonely. We. My fist clenches, but I force my tone quiet. Stop. I don't want excuses. The controlled aggression in my voice is enough to set him on alert. He lifts his hands in a defensive posture, stepping back. The overhead neon lights reflect in his eyes, giving them a predatory gleam. I lean in, words hissing between my teeth. Don't contact her. Ever again. If you do, I can't finish. My anger is so intense, it blinds me. For a moment, I imagine slamming him against the nearest weight machine. But I'm not here to create a public scene that could traumatize those around us or get me arrested. He lowers his hands, nods slowly. Understood. Man, I don't want trouble. His voice is subdued. Is he scared or just uninterested in drama? My gaze flicks down to his feet, then back up. Too late. You found it. But if you want to keep breathing easy, stay away. Don't even think about my family. With that, I pivot and walk out, ignoring the stares. My heart hammers so loud I can hear the rush of blood in my ears. Something akin to triumph hums under my skin, but it's laced with bitterness. This is no real victory, just a sliver of control over my spiraling life. When I get home, Rachel is in the kitchen, preparing dinner. The kids are busy with homework at the table. I'm still fueled by adrenaline. She glances up and sees my expression, cold determination. She immediately senses something's happened. After dinner, once the kids are in their rooms, she corners me. What did you do? I meet her gaze. I told Rick to stay out of our lives. Her face pales. She wets her lips. You talk to him. I nod. In person. Fear flickers in her eyes. Please, Mark, we don't need violence. The kids. I scoff. Violence. That's your first thought. Relax. I didn't hurt him. I just made it clear. If he contacts you, there'll be consequences. She closes her eyes, relief and worry warring on her face. This is so messed up, she whispers. I never wanted it to become this. I shake my head, stepping away. Then you shouldn't have started it. The next day, she tries again to approach me with apologies, tears, explanations. I give her cold silence. By evening, I sense something in her shifting, like she's realized I won't budge with words alone. She disappears into the bedroom, and I hear her muffled crying. Instead of feeling pity, I feel a grim satisfaction. Let her feel the pain. That voice in me is new, harsh. I hate it and cling to it at the same time. Days pass, each one a step deeper into a twisted routine. She tries cooking favorite meals, leaving notes about how we can do counseling. I either ignore her or respond with curt nods. The kids ask if we're okay. I force a smile, say everything's fine, lying through my teeth. Meanwhile, inside, I'm forging a new identity. Someone who can't be hurt. I keep remembering that line I told myself. Revenge is not a reckoning, it's liberation. I repeat it like a mantra when the anger threatens to consume me. Finally, a pivotal night arrives, though I didn't see it coming. The kids are asleep, the house quiet. I'm in the living room, lights off, only the flicker of some late-night news channel on mute. She appears, wearing a plain t-shirt and pajama pants, eyes rimmed with exhaustion. She looks at me for a long moment, then kneels on the floor in front of me, hands folded as if in prayer. Mark, she begins softly. I know you have every right to hate me, and I know I can't undo what I did, but I need you to know I still love you. I've ended it with him. I'm humiliated by what I've done. Her voice trembles. I watch her with hooded eyes. She continues, tears pooling. I'll do anything to keep our family together. Please, if there's a shred of feeling left in you for me, consider giving me another chance. My heart pounds. I want to lash out, to hurl insults, to see her agony. Yet something in her posture, the rawness in her voice, triggers a memory of the early days of our marriage. Her smile, her excitement about building a life together. I close my eyes, a wave of conflicting emotions surging. Love, betrayal, longing, anger. I open my eyes again, find her gaze. She's trembling. Quietly, I say, get up. She stands, uncertain. I see the tears marking her cheeks, the way her shoulders shake. I rise from the couch, confront her. You hurt me in a way I never thought possible. I'd be lying if I said I know how to move forward. She sniffles, nodding. I understand. Just don't shut me out. I rake a hand through my hair, trying to gather words that make sense. I have so much anger in me. I hate what you did. But maybe I hate more the idea of losing everything. Her eyes glimmer with hope. So, you'll consider a second chance. I stare at the floor, remembering how I couldn't stand up that night, how I was pinned by sorrow and betrayal. I recall the vow I made to free myself from this feeling. Then I meet her gaze. I won't promise I can forgive, but I'll see if we can rebuild. And if we can't, you need to accept the consequences. She nods, tears streaming, and for the first time in weeks, she touches my arm. I don't recoil. A swirl of emotion hits me. Relief, rage, sadness, faint remnants of love. The next days are a tentative dance. We speak more, but every conversation is guarded. She attempts to show me texts proving Rick is blocked. She changes her gym routine. She begs me to join her in marriage counseling. I waver, uncertain if I can bare my soul to a stranger. But I do sense a shift. Perhaps this is the start of the liberation I talked about. Still, part of me can't let go of the revenge aspect. A final confrontation. Something to sever the chains of humiliation for good. I wait, watch, brood. My chance comes in an unexpected phone call. Rick calls me. This time, I answer. His voice is tense. Look, man, I just want to say I'm sorry. I realize now how messed up it was. I feel guilty. I wanted to. I dunno. Apologize. I swallow my immediate urge to curse him out. Instead, my voice is dangerously calm. Apologize. He exhales. Yeah, I'm staying away like you asked. But I wanted to do this last thing. Call you, man to man. Let you know I'm out of her life. If you want to talk, I'm open. I close my eyes, the words man to man sending a wave of contempt through me. My voice emerges cold. We have nothing to talk about. You stole something from me. Now you return it, all broken and scarred, and I'm supposed to say thanks. He's silent a moment. I didn't mean to ruin a family. My anger spikes. Well, you did, and if I ever see you near her again, near my kids, near me, I won't hold back. He sighs. Understood. The call ends abruptly. I stand there, phone in hand, breathing hard. My mind churns. That was closure of a sort. But my anger is not magically cured. Time passes. Rachel and I tentatively attempt therapy. I resist at first, but the therapist's office is a neutral ground where I can release some of the ugliness swirling in my gut. She confesses more details, uncomfortable, raw truths that make me flinch. The man in me wants to recoil at each admission. But I let them out, let them burn in the open air, hoping to scald away the infection inside me. At home, we sometimes talk late into the night. I still can't bring myself to hold her the way I once did. She tries to reach for my hand. I endure it for a few seconds before pulling away. She sobs, but doesn't push further. She's trying to respect my boundaries, painfully aware she might break me again with a careless move. The kids notice we're speaking more, occasionally sharing a meal at the same table without that suffocating silence. They smile, relieved. My chest tightens each time I see their hopeful eyes. Part of me wonders if I'm doing this just for them. Another part wonders if I truly want to salvage something with Rachel. Could there be a future that doesn't revolve around distrust? One night, after tucking the kids in, I linger by their bedroom doors, listening to them breathe and sleep. I recall the swirl of events, the documents I found, the insurance papers with her name, that one line referencing our children, the haunting memory of discovering her secret. I pinch my nose, feeling a wave of exhaustion wash over me. I realize I'm done being a prisoner to these images. I want out. Our next therapy session, I speak more openly than I have in years. I talk about how worthless I felt, how emasculated. I talk about the flashes of violence I battled daily. Rachel listens, tears in her eyes, murmuring, "I'm sorry," over and over. The therapist tries to guide us toward the concept of acceptance. It's not an easy path. I leave the session with clenched jaws, but also a faint sense that I might reclaim some piece of myself. Slowly, I begin to see her as a person again, not just a traitor. I see her guilt, her frantic attempts at atonement. She's not the same woman I married, and I'm certainly not the same man. We're both scared. The question is, do we try to rebuild from the rubble? I discover that my brand of revenge has become the quiet knowledge that I forced her to confront what she destroyed. She can't escape it. She sees it every time she looks at me. Every time I maintain my steady composure and refuse to be manipulated by tears, I see the weight in her eyes, and in an odd way, I find it liberating. I'm not the broken man lying on the floor anymore. She's the one carrying that dread now. A final confrontation arrives on a random Wednesday. I'm in the kitchen, rummaging for a plate, and Rachel stands in the doorway. She says softly, "Mark, I have to know. Do you still want me here? Do you still want this marriage?" I set the plate down, meet her gaze across the kitchen. The overhead light is dull, yet I notice the flecks of color in her hazel eyes. I exhale. I want a chance to move forward. With or without you, that depends on whether we can rebuild trust. She nods slowly, tears in the corners of her eyes. "I'll do whatever it takes." Her voice shakes with sincerity. "Whatever it takes." I press my palms on the countertop, struggling to contain the swirl of emotions. After a long pause, I speak, voice low, "Then earn it, day by day. And if you fail, if I see a hint of deception, I'm gone." She swallows. I understand. Days become weeks. We continue therapy, baby steps toward a fragile equilibrium. The children smile more, sensing less tension. Rachel tries her best to show me she's committed. She changes her phone number, switches to a new gym, attends counseling on her own. I remain guarded, but the fury that once consumed me dulls to a steady ache. I realize that, ironically, letting go of the unrelenting rage is part of my revenge. I refuse to remain a victim, shackled to the bitterness. That's the real liberation. Tonight, we're finishing dinner in strained but calmer silence. The kids help clear the table. Rachel and I share a look, wordless understanding that we've come a long way from the night I found that phone video. The old wounds remain, scabbed over, still sore, but they're not gushing blood anymore. After the kids go upstairs, I sit in the living room, lights off, letting the flicker of the TV give an ambient glow. She comes in, stands near me. I sigh, wave a hand for her to sit. She settles cautiously, leaving space between us. I realize my entire body feels different, lighter, in a sense. The monstrous jealousy and rage that once possessed me is no longer strangling my every breath. Slowly, I turn to her. My voice, though still tinged with sadness, is softer. "I can't promise you we'll ever be what we were, but I'm not going to run either." She nods, tears forming, but she looks grateful. "Thank you." In that dim flicker, I see her face, weary but earnest. And for the first time in what feels like an eternity, I rest my hand gently over hers. She gasps quietly, eyes filling with tears. Her grip tightens around my fingers. We don't speak. The silence hums with regret and a tentative hope. Late that night, after she's gone upstairs, I remain on the couch, absorbing the quiet, letting my mind wander. I pull out a small notebook, my stand-in for the old diary I kept in my head, and jot down a few lines. I was on the floor once, unable to rise, paralyzed by betrayal. Now, I'm finding my feet again. This is my life. I've reclaimed it from the wreckage. She doesn't owe my pain anymore. I do. I breathe out, a long, shuddering breath. For the first time in weeks, it feels like I can fill my lungs completely. The memory of that video is still there, but its sharp edge is dulled. I will never forget, but I might be able to live without letting it define me. The next morning, I wake up early, before the alarm, even. I stretch, feeling a faint twinge in my back. My mind flashes to that first moment I crumpled on the floor, how helpless I felt, how heavy the shame was. Now, I stand at the sink in the pale morning light, the world bathed in soft blue. I wash my face, stare at my reflection. I see a man with lines of exhaustion, but also a flicker of determination in his eyes. There's a knock on the door. Rachel's voice, hesitant. "Mark, I'm making coffee. Would you like a cup?" For a split second, my mind replays everything. The betrayal, the fury, the heartbreak. Then I close my eyes, grit my teeth, and push the memory aside. I open the door. She's standing there in her robe, hair mussed. "Yes," I say quietly. "I'd like that." She offers a tentative smile, the corners of her lips trembling with nervousness, relief, maybe a seed of hope. And in that moment I realize I am back in my own skin. Not the man I was before, but not the broken one either. The final wave of that numb agony recedes, replaced by an odd acceptance. We head downstairs. The kids are still asleep, the house calm. She pours me a cup, sets it before me. I curl my hands around the mug, feeling the warmth seep into my fingers. The coffee's aroma stirs something comforting in me. She sits beside me, silent, waiting. I finally speak. "This is my choice, Rachel. I'm choosing to see if we can make something new from what's left. But if you betray me again, I'm gone." She nods, eyes brimming. "I won't. I swear." I sip the coffee. It's a bit strong, slightly bitter, but the warmth feels good against my chest, chasing away the chill. I glance out the window at the faint yellow glow of the rising sun. For a moment, that color no longer repels me. I even find it reassuring in its simplicity. I'm not naive. The scars remain. The pain can resurface at any moment, and trust is fragile. But as I take another sip, I taste possibility. I won't be trapped in that swirling torment forever. I won't kneel on the floor, powerless, pinned by heartbreak. I've taken my revenge in the form of reclaiming my own spirit. And that, more than anything, sets me free. Yes, it's not a pure reckoning, but it is liberation. I close my eyes, let the heat of the coffee spread through me, and for the first time in a very long while, I feel like I can breathe again.